Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Oh no, I know what I'm doing.
I missed talking with Steve.
Yeah, sure. Alright, let's go ahead and get started then. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Partu. Joining me today is the one, the only, the realest of them all, the real Manos, aka Justin Cristelli.
Hey folks, how you doing?
I'm sure they're all doing well. Manos, we are continuing Geeky Gentlemen Comedy Month, and we are continuing today our fan film reviews with a little fan project that you picked. What is that project, Manos?
I picked, it's a Bob's Burgers Archer crossover. And, let's see, it's, hold on, the title of it.
I had something for this burger.
I had something for this burger.
I had something for this title.
For this burger, yes.
Yes. Archer and Bob's Burgers. So, like, we were talking a little bit after recording, after you picked this last week, about our differences in fandom here. Because this is really interesting, because this is a crossover of two things that we were both fans of. But, I wouldn't call myself Bob's Burgers fans, but there are crossovers of franchises that we're fans of. But one of us, we're on the complete opposite end of the spectrum here. I find that really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I started out pretty excited for Archer, and then I've kind of dwindled.
That's fair.
On it.
No, I get it. It is a bit exhausting at times, but I don't know, man. I love Archer. It cracks me the hell up. I can't wait for every season. It takes too long between seasons. And I laugh my ass off all the time when I'm watching Archer, but I've tried to watch Bob's Burgers and I could just never quite get into it. But you're a big Bob's Burgers fans.
I'm a huge Bob's Burgers fan, and it's one of the most relatable comedy shows I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
And, of course, we got the characters played by H. John Benjamin. We got Kristen Shaw, who alone sold me on the show. But I've also been a big fan of Lauren Bouchard, who's the creator of the show. And he's created, Home Movies and Dr. Katz. I just really enjoy his work. And he has this wonderful conversational humor that works so well in the show. And there's some really spectacular writing on that show where you know those characters just in any given scene, and they're so strong. And it's character-based comedy, which I always love.
Mm-hmm. And see, for me, the thing about Archer that I love, it is that every single character is the worst person you could possibly imagine, and they all work together. And they're all awful to each other, and they all deserve each other. And it's really funny to watch that dynamic. That's what I love about the show, is it's just so ridiculously dark. Some of the characters are just really blatantly racist in just shocking ways that you you can't even imagine that level of racism still exists. And so it's just really funny to see that all on screen together in ways that it really shouldn't be, but I get a sick thrill out of it. And there's just a lot of really dark, just mean-spirited humor, and I can never get enough of that. And so it's kind of interesting that you got H. John Benjamin. He doesn't throw his voice at all for either role. That's just how he talks.
Yes.
And you in Archer, you do have a lot of dialogue-based humor. One of my favorite gags in Archer was when Archer and Krieger are talking about a mind-controlled chip, and Krieger's got it hooked up to a bunny. He's like, I can make this bunny do anything. I can make it eat, run, jump, whatever I want. And Archer goes, could you put that in a human's head? And he just looks at me and goes, I mean, it would suffocate. no, the ship, you idiot! Like, just, God, that the conversations in Archer crack me up. So it's a really interesting idea to take like something more wholesome and relatable and mash it together with something a lot darker and just kind of disgusting in a number of ways, and see what kind of bastard child you can get just because they share a voice actor. And so that's what this is, and this is a very ambitious fan project. And I gotta say, even though I don't like Bob's Burgers, almost entirely based on the animation style, if nothing else. I've never been able to get into that show because I just think it's fugly. I mean, it's there's something really fascinating, if nothing else, at looking at the Archer characters animated a la Bob's Burgers style.
Yeah. And I love the fact that the opening and closing are the Bob's Burgers opening and closings with the Archer characters. Mm-hmm. And how well they kind of like fit in, which is kind of funny. Like Cheryl has a kind of pose that Louise does in the opening credits. That kind of fits because she's a wackadoo, mm-hmm. and that's really nice. And it just has the Bob's Burgers like opening is one of my favorite openings. It's just so. It pops, and it's so fun, and it's very clear and iconic, and that ukulele strumming is so. That's Lauren Bouchard himself doing that.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm just like rewatching this as we talk about it, and yeah, I love the opening sequence because there are references to the Archer series with all like within the Bob's Burgers reopening thing. Because Archer has gone through these evolutions where it started off as a spy show, but then they did the Archer Vice season, and so at one point the sign changes from ISIS Industries to Vice, and then it ends with the Figgis Agency, which was the most recent continuity or whatever you'd call it. The most recent revamp of their company as a private detective agency run by Cyril Figgis. So, like, that's just a really, really funny... It's a really great in-joke reference to that perfectly incorporates itself within the visual gag of the Bob's Burgers opening.
Yeah, this is very clearly done by someone who absolutely loves both of these shows, where... instead of getting like people to mimic the actors, that would be completely pointless because the whole goal of this is to get John Benjamin and John Benjamin doing scenes together. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of fun because he like he obviously takes dialogue from both shows and kind of really effortlessly turns it into a scene. Like, I've watched all these episodes of Bob's Burgers, and I've seen a good handful of Archer's episodes, so I know where a lot of these lines come from, and they fit together so well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that to a fault. I do think it was a really ambitious and honestly, it pays off better than I would expect it to. Yeah. Cutting dialogue from both shows to fit it all together and make this, 4-minute episode out of it. It works better than I would expect it to, but I think it's fair to say it's not seamless, right?
Well, I would agree to that, yeah.
Like, there's points at which, like, the delivery just feels off, or, like, there's clearly a sound effect or music playing in the original episode, so it just kind of, like, pops in for a second, and that feels a little weird. So it's definitely not seamless, but it is still just the amount of time and effort that you would have to spend in finding all of these lines. Like, I don't even know how you write something like this when I get right down to it, Like, did he just, like, generate a script from every episode of both shows and then find ways to put the lines together and then retroactively go back and cut the lines, or how did he write the script? That's the thing that I found really fascinating. Like, I looked through the video description that Simon Chong, the creator of this, put, and he goes, some people have asked how I made this, so here's a summary. I designed the Archer characters in Photoshop first, then drew them up in After Effects, which I then animated everything with. Backgrounds were redrawn by hand so they could be layered and used in animation in After Effects. Yeah, sure, that's all great. How the fuck did you even write the thing and know where you're going to pull the lines from is the thing I want to know about how it was made.
Yeah, the animation almost seems like the easiest part.
Right?
And that's something I want to also make a shout out in, where the first time I watched this, I wonder if just the Archer characters were new. And he like took and re-edited, scenes from the Bob's Burgers scenes, because it's all in the diner. And yeah, he everything is original here.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is amazing to me, because that's such a detailed diner.
Yeah.
And
the
it fooled me. I mean, that looks like the real diner.
No, it does, and I think that's like part of what just turns me off personally about Bob's Burgers is I just find the character design and animation, like, dude, I grew up with the internet in the early 2000s watching Flash animations and stuff, and honestly, some of that stuff looks better than Bob's Burgers to me.
Okay, we can probably.
No, like that's.
I mean, hey, at least they didn't like trace over people and
No, I agree.
Kind of cardboard cut them throughout the show and use CG like another show that I might mention.
No,
but I mean, like, yeah.
No,
okay.
I mean, that's just me. That's, like, honestly something that I've always found really, like, as a turnoff for Bob's Burgers. But as far as just giving the opportunity for fans to kind of bring their own stuff to Bob's Burgers and have it look like the art style, because it's not a hard art style to imitate, I mean, that's great. I have there's no speculation in my head as to why Bob's Burgers has had such a huge fan base, to the point where someone like Simon here was willing to do all this work, because it's actually conceivable to do it because of the choices made in the art style and everything.
Oh God, yeah.
It is very easy to imitate, and it's a style that they clearly chose. All of who's the creator of Bob's Burgers again?
It's Lauren Bouchard.
Yeah, like you mentioned Home Movies. I remember Home Movies. That was also a really, really like ugly animation.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna like deny that.
Yeah, no, like that's always been his thing. Like he clearly likes that really cheap looking style, and it pays off for him because he's able to make a lot of content because of that.
I actually think his least attractive looking show is Dr. Katz. That was his first major show. What draws you in is not so much the animation, but what the characters are saying to each other. And there's script and improvisation, and he's done a really good job kind of like blending them. There are times where some of the best dialogue in the show I've later found out was improvised. Like there's this great episode where Bob is a big fan of this one baseball player, and he is always considered him his hero, but the kids think it's weird that they're the same age. And like Louise tells him, like, I wouldn't have another 9-year-old as my hero. And there's a scene at the end where he finds out this baseball player has always been cheating and is a real kind of shitbag. And the baseball player, this guy is named Tornado, and Tornado tells him, he tells him, next time you want a hero, Bob, pick an old guy, because the time you grow up, they're dead. And that line was improvised.
Wow.
And they kept it because it was slightly stronger than the original the line. Yeah, and that's one of the things I love so much about the show is it really does they have really good writers, but they know when to let their actors kind of like play loose, and they know when to cut them back.
Yeah, and it also provides, to bring it back to the fan film, that kind of tone, that kind of voice acting where the actors feel comfortable doing some improv here and there. It lends itself well to this very conversational format, and that's kind of what helps so much of this as pieced together dialogue work as well as it does. And that's really cool. It's really neat to see that all kind of come together. And this is, this is a shockingly ambitious project compared to what it sounds like it's going to be.
And I gotta, I want to get back to just the impressiveness of the script. One more time, because I was just thinking about that, and I have no idea where the hell I'd start. I mean, did he start from memory? Like, wouldn't it be funny if they said this, or maybe he plotted it out and then went back and through hours of Archer and Bob's Burgers to find the appropriate dialogue, and also to try and nail the characters too.
Yeah, because it's not like you can just pull any line. You got to pull stuff that actually fits the scenario and gives you a good sense of, oh yeah, that's totally Archer.
Yes, even if you let's say you're watching this completely blind and never seen Bob's Burgers or Archer, you would pretty much know who these characters are by the end of this short film.
Mm-hmm. I think so. They're all very confrontational. Bob and his family are pretty nice people who can only be pushed so far. And Archer and his friends are assholes and monsters. I love Cheryl has the line, you should tell your butler to fire the head house servant. And it's oh, we don't have those. I know, I was being facetious. I can tell you're poor. That just... Oh my god! The levels of dickhead within that are astronomical. And so yeah, it's really fun to see this all kind of come together. And of course, Archer staring at the Italian Jimmy Pesto's pizzeria across the street. He's like with this spaghetti and meatballs line. It fits the scenario for Bob really well, which is pretty fun too.
Exactly. God. That street looks so good. There is little details Coach McGurk.
Yes, from Home Movies.
Yes, is walking, and that's so beautiful. That I got really excited when I saw Coach McGurk because I've always loved that character.
Yeah, I remember my favorite Coach McGurk line ever. It was in a Home Movies promo, and he was before I found out there was porn on the internet, I probably spent, I don't know, maybe an hour a week on the internet. But then after I found out there was porn on the internet, I'd say I spent a good 24 to 48 hours a week on the internet. It's just, Jesus Christ, man.
Oh my God.
That's that is so emblematic of that character. So John Benjamin has a tendency to play a very particular kind of guy. So it's no surprise that he ended up being Archer.
I know. I don't know if he does this on Archer, but he's played other characters on Bob's Burgers. He plays this teenager with a lisp.
Okay.
Named Jimmy Pesto Jr. It took a while for me to realize that was him. And there's this kind of gruff teacher. Miss LeBon's that he plays, and I don't know. It's he challenges himself a lot. There's a couple of different actors on the show that play a whole bunch of different side characters.
That's interesting. I don't know if he's played anyone on Archer. It's been a while since I went through and rewatched a lot of Archer, so I might just not be remembering something. But that makes me want to go back and see if I can catch it.
Well, his voice is so distinct. Mm-hmm. So it's been fun on this show to kind of watch him stretch himself and do other characters. Kristen Schaal has I think I've only heard her do one other side character because her voice is also so distinct. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to hide that voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this. Did you have a favorite character interaction with this? Because for me, it was definitely Tina and Lana. Because that whole situation with, asking about boys' locker rooms is so goddamn ridiculous, but it's the exact kind of weird shit that always happens to Lana. Where she just gets cornered in a room with someone who's, really fucking creepy. And she's just got to deal with it. And she's like, oh, great. So now this is happening. And, so that was just a very, as we were saying earlier, it's they truly did capture these characters, or Simon truly captured these characters here, because that is the exact kind of situation that would happen to Lana in the show.
Yeah, and that one was really funny. Although they didn't have too much like reasoning why that just suddenly happened. Like, why did Tina just decide to pick her about that? Oh, but the joke works, so it holds up for that. My particular favorite interaction is just Bob and Archer. Mm-hmm. Like I just love at the end him yelling at them. Yeah. Like, you're all horrible! Get out of my restaurant!
Yeah, he's right. They are all horrible, and that's like the whole... Like, I don't understand people who are like... I guess I get it to a point, but like, it's not really a valid criticism to go, oh, I don't like Archer because all the characters are horrible. That's the whole point, right? Like, if you don't, you're perfectly welcome to not like that and not want to watch it, but like, you can't say that that's a problem with the show, because that's what they're going for. And so it's again, really, really funny to see these characters juxtaposed, which is like, it's pretty hilarious because we kind of already got that from Archer season 4, where we had the opening where it's Bob's Burgers and Archer in the Archer style and all that stuff. And so that being the whole inspiration behind this as, well, let's do the other side of that. Let's do Archer comes to Bob's Burgers and do it in that animation style. That's really funny. It really works. It's a really clever idea.
Yeah. I would have to say I did stop watching Archer because there are horrible people, and I eventually kind of got worn down on it because they don't change. These characters don't develop and change. They're all really shitty, and they don't kind of develop in any kind of way. And
see, I would... All right.
See, my thing is when I've watched a lot of like dark humor, and I enjoy a lot of dark humor, but as a TV series that goes on for a long time, I'll be honest with you, it does eventually like...
Well, let me say this.
It gets boring and it gets hateful in like 5th season of a show like that. You're going, you know what? These guys are just assholes. I can't like even laugh at them any like that.
I get that. I get that. But let me say this. Actually, they do start to develop and actually kind of create some humanity for these people who have been awful. And that all kind of comes once Lana has a baby. And it's Archer's child, and it actually kind of sort of at least briefly matures everybody, and it starts to create some more interaction on that level. So I did notice. Let's see. I was still watching the show a little bit after Lana had the baby, and I did notice that. I did pick up on that, and then it goes right back to form, and it's just I don't know. I think Was it the Fantastic Voyage episode that I think was my last one, where it was like... where they did C-Lab? Yeah.
Yeah. No, not C-Lab. Where they literally did the Fantastic Voyage shrinking into...
Oh, okay.
And God, I don't know. Just the end of that episode was like, you know what? I think I got it.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's understandable. I can understand getting worn down on it.
I understand the show now. I'm done.
That's fair. I can understand getting worn down on it for some people, but for me it just works. And I love Archer for that reason. And so, again, it's really fun to see Archer put in this situation where he and his friends just can't help but be awful to Bob and his family. And it's it's surprising because you say, H. John Benjamin's voice is so distinct, but he clearly has a lot of range in the kind of characters he can portray, apparently. Because Bob and Archer are very different characters.
They are different characters. Like, Bob has, like, this general sadness to him, which is funny as shit. I don't know how they make sadness so funny. With Bob, there have been scenes where he just goes on about, like, something terrible that happened. It is so funny to listen to because he just won't stop. And, that will also be like improved upon by the family, like kind of cracking jokes about him. There's this one episode where like the family goes on like this stupid turkey run in the Water Wharf, and they this is for Thanksgiving, and he loves Thanksgiving, and he feels abandoned, so he gets drunk, and he starts yelling at a turkey baster. And it's this huge dramatic scene.
Yeah.
where he's yelling at this turkey baster that's mocking him. And yeah, he does stuff like that. It's so funny. Like Bob and Archer both get drunk a lot. But there's such this like sadness in Bob's character versus like this kind of anger and patheticness, but still like kind of creating this gruff character, this tough guy kind of character.
Yeah, and whereas Archer's got like this escapist like fantasy world that he wants to live in, and that kind of that creates this toxic dynamic where he keeps pushing people away. But that doesn't really matter because all the people that could get close to him anyway are all various levels of awful, and so he keeps ruining his chance for a good life, but so do the people around him, and that's just pretty funny.
And they're also rather smart characters. Where Archer's at least intelligent. He's kind of ignorant. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care. He's so detached. He doesn't give a shit. So he does a lot of stupid things. And Bob's actually a smart guy. He's often the voice of reason in a lot of episodes. So I don't know. It's so funny. Like you can even hear like him speak as these characters with his own voice, and be able to know which character is who.
And see, that actually brings me up something because I can't quite place everything. But I swear there is one point at which Bob is on screen talking and he used an Archer line. Just because something about the delivery just sounded slightly different. Like the lines fit for Bob to be saying in that moment, but something about the delivery, it felt like H. John Benjamin doing Archer as opposed to Bob.
I wondered that too because he says Archer in a line. And by the way, Bob has never said the word Archer in the series, in 8 seasons of the show. But I know Archer has said the word Bob. So I guess they had to kind of cheat.
Maybe. I wasn't thinking it was anything like that specific. I was thinking it was probably more like it was like one particular line delivery where Bob was saying something to one of them, and I can't place it off the top of my head, but just something about one particular line delivery felt off. And maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe he just pulled something from one scene where Bob was really angry, and Archer's kind of always on a bit of a rampage.
Well, Bob does get mad.
Yeah.
He has a wonderful temper when he gets pushed.
Yeah, so maybe that's what I'm picking up on. I don't know. If Simon watches this, he could maybe confirm or deny in the comments below. I'd love to hear from Simon on this, because this was clearly, as I said at the beginning, you and I are fans of different properties within this, but Simon, who made it, is very clearly a fan of both, and so I'd be interested to hear his take on our feelings on the different shows.
Yeah, he obviously is absolutely in love with both of these shows, all these characters, and knows what works about them.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's really fun to see this have all come together. It's a really, really, surprisingly ambitious, and just the more you think about it and look about how it all comes together, that's really, really a lot of work, undeniable amount of work put into this, and that's really impressive. So you want to go ahead and go on to ratings then, Manos?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to.
All right, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Okay, sure. I absolutely love this, and it's a wonderful blend of these two great shows. So I'm going to definitely give it 5. Never been. I always fuck these things up. I would give it 5 out of never been feta cheeseburgers.
Okay. All right. For me, I'm going to go a little bit lower because, again, I just personally don't like the Bob's Burgers art style, though I do feel Simon did a great job capturing it. That's just something that's personally always turned me off. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5 ants. Because do you want ants? Because that's how you get ants. Awesome. Manos, thanks for that. That was a really cool pick. I had a good time talking about that.
Oh, good. I'm glad you did. I wasn't sure if you'd be into this film, so
I was a little worried. I
wasn't
sure how, I'm really glad that you and I have such very different opinions on Archer and Bob's Burgers, because I was not sure we'd be able to get a half hour out of a 4-minute short.
Once I realized that you and I did have different opinions on Archer and Bob's Burgers, I knew we would. We'd probably talk an hour.
Yeah.
I'm surprised what time is it? Okay.
Okay, almost. We almost got there. Anyway, so next week on Geeky Gentlemen, we're going to continue Comedy Month with the other reason that I wanted to do Comedy Month. We're going to talk about the lovely people over at Team 4-Star and their series Dragon Ball Z Abridged by talking about one of their movies. We're going to talk about Dragon Ball Z Abridged movie Broly, because Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, movie number 8 over from Team 4-Star. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Wow.
Until next time, everyone, I'm a victim of circumstance.
Oh, we're doing that kind of thing?
If you want. If you're clever enough to think of one.
I'm Bob.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.